So on today's edition of Piggy Analyzes a Video, we're going to be using this comment over here that said that I should take a look at Grandpa's Aces from David Copperfield, and that's exactly what we're going to do today. Now, for the full sake of disclosure, Copperfield already has a video where he's analyzing his own routine and talking about the different intricacies of what it took to get to that particular stage. But I thought I'd give my own little commentary, the Piggy version. You don't get the Piggy version when you look at the Copperfield version. Yeah, you might get insights from the actual originator of the routine itself, but no, here you get some good old banter, which I think is well worth it. So let's take a look at the routine.
I'm going to show you a home movie. That's me, and that's my grandfather. He's the first person to ever teach me magic. I was about 10 years old, and he taught me a card trick with 4 aces. And the aces would appear and disappear. It was really cool. And since I was 10 years old, it took me many months to master it. After I did, I showed it to everybody, and I decided to make magic my life. Everybody thought I was crazy, except my grandfather, who always gave me encouragement. And I promised him if I ever had any success, that I would do his card trick in my show. Well, my grandfather passed away before I ever did a big show. But Grandpa, if you're listening, tonight I'm going to keep my promise.
This guy had to have just been smashing in the 90s, anything that he wanted, even today. Now, obviously, there's some nefarious dealings with Epstein, but my goodness, if this man wasn't banging every single supermodel, he was wasting his time. Because just look at the way he sets it up. Look at everything about this routine, even the way his little hair flips in the wind. My goodness, I'm a little bit hard, honestly, looking at this. But we could learn a lot from the way Copperfield introduces this particular trick. He introduces it with the emotional hook of having his grandfather, who passed away, having taught him this particular ace routine. Now, Copperfield himself mentions that, yeah, this is a little bit too difficult of a routine for a grandfather to have taught a child, but there is suspension of disbelief. And I think that it works brilliantly, especially with the music playing in the background, which is the love theme from the movie Cousins. Now, of course, it wouldn't be magic with some virginity when it comes to the use of this particular track, especially because one of the producers to this particular effect is Gary Ouellette. Gary Ouellette and Chris Kenner worked on this particular variation of McDonald's Aces for David Copperfield's special. However, Alan Choquet, who's a magician from Canada, had used this theme on his ace assembly routine as well. Gary Ouellette happened to have worked on that one too, so there's some issue with that, and allegedly Alan Choquet wasn't necessarily happy that he used this particular song as well. But alas, that's just history at this point. I think the routine is perfect and the structure builds up immaculately. Now here we could see that Copperfield makes excellent use of the Piet Fortin pop-out move for the introduction to Grandpa's Aces. Now traditionally, this is used because you don't see the back of the aces. Now this is also a very difficult move to do, especially to do it live on stage like this. If you ever worked with this particular move, it's not super easy to do. You have to get the habit of the card falling out just right, and it's a beautiful production. However, you notice that for Copperfield's variation, he's actually not going to make the aces change into other cards. Typically, you have the aces put amongst 3 cards, and then all 4 cards all displayed to the audience, where the ace is seemingly gone. Here, he actually makes the ace disappear, so he goes from 4 cards to 3. But he doesn't make use of double face cards. So that's the interesting approach to this one, different than Gary Ouellette's original Dream of Aces routine. Now, you notice that there is some odd handling of the playing cards throughout the sequence, and I do think that is in part due to the fact that there is some sticky on the cards. There's some sticky on some of the cards, as you're going to see, because that's how he makes the aces actually disappear from amongst the other ones. So his handling, what might appear contrived in some portions, it's for that particular purpose, at least in my opinion. That load is straight up retarded. It's stupid. Look at how smooth this man loads the aces underneath that ace of spades. I still to this day don't know how he does it so smooth, especially under fire in this performance. Technically, the easiest way to approach this is just getting a break underneath the top 3 cards of the deck and then stealing them underneath the ace of spades as you place it on top of the table. He doesn't do that. I mean, that's art. That is art. What's the difference between this and, I don't know, your weird cousin's ambitious card routine? It's everything. The music, the timing, everything is what makes this art. Now, you notice the way he spreads the cards, again, is a little bit contrived. And Copperfield is great when it comes to cards, technically. So the way that he does that is because of the fact that there is a sticky substance on the cards. And as you can see, he transfers that one to the bottom, and he does a very simple vanish for this first one. He takes the ace, places it on top of the pile, and he very openly presses his thumb just to make sure that the cards stick together. Now you're going to see that the other ones are ridiculously difficult moves and very angle sensitive for what is a television special, but we'll get to those when we get to it. You see Copperfield builds up. He does the first one and he makes it vanish very simply, just making the card disappear. This next one, he does a very open color change. And this is a fairly difficult change to do. Essentially, he's doing a pass, a Herman pass, with that bottom card. And he, again, reinforces that card, making sure that it sticks correctly and makes it completely disappear. I think this is the better approach to the standard McDonald's ace plot, because you're doing what you're supposed to be doing, which is making that card disappear from that small pile of other cards. And in this case, they're all going to appear under the ace of spades. So it makes sense as to why they ended up there, because they're gone. They didn't change into other cards. You see what I mean? The first two were like a bachelor party compared to this last one. This last one, he's making use of a window change, which by itself is a very difficult color change to execute because you really have to put the pressure correctly. And here, he waves his hand very well in front of the card, and that's what causes the change without touching it whatsoever, which is just fucking bonkers. This color change is also very angle sensitive, so any flash, any sort of movement would show the action. You notice the importance of the music track during this entire routine. I think that's what really made this a form of art, just because he's able to show those cards to the timing of the beat of the music, and it really adds to that emotional hook. And at the end, of course, he ties it in even further by ending it with a picture of him and his grandfather. You have no fucking choice. You have no choice but to react emotionally, as we all did. I know I loved this routine the first time I saw it, and it's funny because you could learn pretty much the same sleights that you need for this on the PigCake Magic Academy. I don't know if you know about that. The PigCake Magic Academy. Oh, what's that? The home of over 1,500 videos going over card stuff, coin stuff, everything you need to become the best magician you could possibly be. Not the best person, but the best magician. And again, 1,500 videos and counting. I'm always uploading new content onto the Academy, and all for the low price of a single White Claw a month. So just $5. $5 a month and you get access to all that stuff, and you could potentially become your own little Copperfield. There's so much to take away from this performance of the routine. And no, it's not just doing ace assembly. I think this unfortunately spawned the magician's ideology of performing ace assembly and you'll be like Copperfield. No, you don't have the swagger, you don't have the hair, you don't have the supermodel wife, so stop it. Be better. The lesson to be learned here is in the importance of the use of music in your stage shows, as well as in the structure of a routine. You notice that he doesn't right off the bat go for a very visual disappearance of the ace. He starts it off pretty modestly, and then from there he builds up and builds up until eventually you just can't help but react. Shower, please. Go ahead and shower.
I see you again, when 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 I see